Hi, my name is Natasha Welfare. I'm a mental health counsellor with Welldoing, and I'm here today to talk a little bit about the mental health of teenagers. I think what's really important to recognise to begin with is just what a difficult year teenagers have had over the last year. Their routines, which are so important to them, have been completely disrupted. They've seen some big changes in the way that they learn. They've been trying to sort of learn at home under completely different circumstances. Often I think that's been really intense for all of the family. We know that for teenagers, their friendships are really important, and they haven't been able to see their friends as much, and they haven't been able to sort of access their friendships in the same ways. Their after school clubs have been cancelled, and I think we can't underestimate how difficult that is for them actually at that very specific age. And in addition to all of that, their brains are still forming. So we know that some parts of their brains won't be fully developed until the age of about 25. And what that really means is that they might be more impulsive. They might struggle to sort of, control their emotions. They might find it difficult to make decisions. They might even struggle with concentration and focus. They might find themselves being really forgetful. So I think overall, we're just sort of recognising, how difficult all of this is for them to sort of cope with and manage, especially this year. So just moving on to how therapy might be able to help. I think it's really important to understand that the therapeutic relationship is so different from speaking to an authority figure. And of course, teenagers are completely surrounded by authority figures, aren't they? Teachers, parents. And actually what they're able to do if they come into therapy is just to have a conversation with somebody that's completely confidential, where they can just be themselves actually, and where there's no expectation. And so it's a very different sort of relationship. I think as parents, it can be very difficult to really be able to tell the difference between teenage mood swings or depression. And I think a lot of parents really struggle with this. And that's where a therapist can really sort of add some value, really to sort of help you negotiate that and figure out, is this something that we really need to worry about? Or actually, is this just part of growing up? A lot of teenagers suffer from anxiety. They become very aware of how they might be perceived. There's huge potential for shame. And actually, this is where therapy can be very practical. We can teach them coping mechanisms for those sort of negative thoughts, coping mechanisms in order to calm their nervous system as well. So things like breathing and exercise. So actually, we can make a plan in therapy. We can, give them some tools for their toolbox, really. And I think, on that note of having tools for their toolbox, they need them at this particular age. They might be struggling with bullying. They're managing peer pressure. They're making really big decisions about, their future. And actually, therapy it can be practical. We can make a plan, and we can put all of this on the table. And I think that can be really useful for teenagers. So just to finish up, I wanted to talk about sort of 3 tips for parents, really, in terms of how they might be able to make that decision. Do I need a therapist here? Is this, are we at that stage yet? Because I think that can be really difficult. So number 1, this is one of the things I would look out for. Significant changes to behaviour. So if your teen is spending lots of time in their room, perhaps they're withdrawing from friends, and that would be something that's noticeably different. It might be an indication that it might be something more than just typical teenage sort of mood swing. So that's definitely one to keep an eye on. Number 2 would be changes to eating habits and sleeping habits. So that's something to pay attention to. And number 3 really is paying attention to any health issues, even if they seem quite minor. So, tummy aches, headaches, all of those sorts of potential signs of anxiety, and just keeping a really close eye on those. And hopefully, being aware of some of those things might help you to make the decision about whether a therapist could be useful for your teen at this particular moment in time. So I hope that was of interest.